Hey guys, Chris here. In this video, I'm going to give you guys a full in-depth review of the Deepal S07, which is not only coming to Norway, but to 10 European countries this year. This car is launching next month and is a very exciting competitor to the Tesla Model Y. So in this video, we're going to take it out on the road. I'm going to show you what it is like to drive, and we're going to take a look at the exterior and the interior. You guys may have seen that I've actually changed my attire, and that is because we're shooting the rest of this video the day after, because first we had issues with my camera, with my lens, because it is so humid in Chongqing that my lens fogged up on the inside, which is completely crazy. I've never experienced that before. And then we've had mic issues. So we have now let the camera settle. No fogging issues anymore. We've checked before shooting. And also I have a new microphone. So I apologize if the audio is a little off, or maybe, not as it was before, but we're working on it. This is the first clip we're shooting with the new microphone. Seems like I just can't get a break, because filming with a new microphone, I'm sitting at home and also editing this video, and they're crackling and pops. It's super annoying. So we're just going to skip forward to where that is gone. At the end of the video, also just a little bit at the outro and throughout the video with this new microphone, a little bit of, wonky audio here and there, but at least you can hear what I'm saying. So I do apologize, guys. Let's just continue on here. Come a little bit closer, you can see that it has these really sharp DRLs up top, which kind of reminiscent of Venuras. And then you have, these really cool DRL details, like these flower petals here, which is part of the Deepal brand. You have your normal headlights and high beams down here. And then down here below, you have an LCD display, which can display different graphics. But this, when it comes to Europe, later this year, won't, of course, have this, because that is not allowed in the EU. But I really like if you move over there, you can see, if you move it that way, you can see like the really sharp lines, how it comes down and just cuts this way. So if you back up a little bit, we can take a look at this car in profile. So this has 20-inch wheels. You have, body cladding around the wheel arches here. Looks pretty sporty. And then you have, this graphic along this side. Pretty traditional, but a few creases and stuff like that. I think it does look nice from this angle, and you can see that it doesn't slope down like a Tesla Model Y or an Xpeng G6. This is more traditional SUV, traditional wagon. And also these door handles may look the same as you'd find in the G6 or the Model Y, but they do pop out, so you don't have to press and stuff like that. So they are very, very easy to operate. Overall, I think the car does look sharp from this angle. You have the charge port here. I'm going to put, the specs up for you guys. Here's the charge port. Of course, these are the Chinese connectors, not CCS2 as we have in Europe. So this is going to be different when it comes to Europe. I'm going to put the specs up on the screen for you guys, the size of this car and stuff like that. And if we move over to the back, we have the same, those flower petal, the element designs in the rear lights, and also some really cool graphics. I like these, vertical lines there, and also the Deepal badging there. For being this type of vehicle, I mean, it's not anything revolutionary, but I actually think it is very good looking for being a vehicle at this price point. And this blue color is very, very nice. We can also pop the trunk. I can show you guys what that looks like, if we'll find the button over here somewhere. We did this yesterday. So the trunk, maybe this car's, weakest point, is only 445 liters. You have a little bit of underfloor storage here, not too bad. And also because it is, more of a wagon shape and not, sloping, you do have a little bit of room above that shoulder line, but only 445 liters. So to open up the front, there is a lever here on the driver's side. So you double pull that. And where the trunk may be smaller than a lot of its competitors, depending on where you put this as a competitor, this is actually one of the biggest trunks I've ever seen. 125 liters, which is actually very big and very decent. Impressive. So what I really like about this specific car, which I'm not sure is going to come to Norway or to Europe, is this beautiful gray green color. We've also seen a color that is kind of, you know, like beige. That is really nice. I'm really liking, you know, the color palettes of Deepal in this, the S07. So this car in Norway is going to start from 399,000 kroner, so about 35,000 euros, which is a very low price point for what you're getting here, the rear wheel drive version and the battery pack here with the range and, you know, the performance. If you compare this something to, you know, like a Skoda Elrock, this is bigger on the interior. It has a really nice interior also, like you have this full here on the dashboard, soft touch plastics, nice details, also soft touch, you know, this leather here on the center console, dual cup holders. You have one wireless charger there, which is really nice. And just overall, the quality is nice. This has a Deepal branded stereo, which actually is pretty decent. These seats are cooled and ventilated. Not sure, you know, this spec here, what you're getting as equipment here. I'm guessing that what we're getting here is a higher trim than what we're going to get in Norway at that start point, but still, it is a very well equipped car. You have, you know, faux leather here on faux wood there on the dashboard. Here you have a really nice and practical, you know, center storage. And also these seats, I don't think they are too bad, like comfort wise. But you know, it's just been so humid and hot here in Chongqing. Having cool seats is a blessing. And also, these are the same color seat belts I have in my Porsche, which was like a 500 or 600 euro option. Crayon seat belts. Here they are, you know, standard in that color. So the infotainment system, hopefully this is going to be completely different. This isn't even available in English. That's why we have, you know, the Chinese characters here. But it's been hard navigating. Like, we've been driving this car for 2 days, and this is our home screen, and we're like, okay, this makes sense, all of this, but like, how do we get back to our navigation screen? So we actually had to watch a video to find out. And then, do you guys want to guess where it is? Like, I'm gonna give you guys a second. No, you wouldn't guess. You press that. Yeah, so you press the car icon in this small display here, brings you back to the navigation. That's not intuitive at all. That doesn't make any sense. But hopefully this is going to have, you know, a more easier and intuitive, you know, setup when it comes to Europe. Also, stock, you have your gear selector here. You have, you know, your normal stocks here. And if you come closer, I can show you guys here that we now have this, you know, kind of different type of D-pads here on the right and the left. This controls, you know, your added settings, your adaptive cruise control, and also this controls your media and stuff like that. And also the airbag cover is actually in this beautiful stitched material. So I mean, like, this isn't a luxury car, but for this price point, I actually think the front cabin is very impressive when it comes to comfort, when it comes to interior quality. But let's hop into the rear, because that's even more impressive. So is, as I said, not very expensive, this car, though the interior and exterior dimensions may put it a class above. What is impressive is this rear seat here. The accommodation here is pretty impressive. And unlike a lot of Chinese cars I've been testing lately, you can actually, you know, slide your feet underneath the front seat. A lot of Chinese cars, you have decent knee room, but once you want to slide your feet under, there's no room, so you're sitting like this. This has both, the best of both worlds. You also have, you know, rear climate here, where you can, you know, put a little bit of air, and I'm going to do that because it is so warm and humid here. You know, the only thing I don't like is, like, the seat is a little bit too much reclined, and as far as I could gauge, you can't adjust the seat back. But you can't, you know, have everything at this price point either. Beautiful armrest, dual cup holders, a little bit of storage here for your phone, and again, really nice materials. Huge panoramic sunroof, beautiful materials here on the seat back, and just a lot of rear legroom and rear space, even in the middle, for being this type of vehicle. And I think that is actually very impressive, having a car with this much space at this price point. Okay guys, I'm now behind the wheel of the Deepal S07, and I'm gonna drive all by myself from the factory outside of Chongqing to the hotel in Chongqing. So I was here yesterday getting my Chinese driver's license so I could legally drive on the roads here. And yeah, this is gonna be interesting. This is of course a Chinese spec vehicle because we are in China, not a European spec, so it doesn't even have English. I have a backup in the in the rear seat. If I get lost, he's gonna help me. And maybe they gotta put the navigation to the hotel, right? Well, that's gotta be... I gotta go back. I actually gotta go back. They forgot to put, or maybe they put the navigation. Wait. Did you put the navigation system for me?
OK，
And where is the navigation system?
你好，深蓝，
嗨，
我要去尼伊格罗酒店。
要我为你选择
第一个
距离当前位置20公里的
第一个
信尼伊阁楼酒店。正在为您规划路线。好。
开始导航，哎呀
Okay.
，OK
Okay. Okay. Thank.
有翻译软件，你可以跟他说我听得懂，但是我不会说，我就听得懂他说。
Your partner, he can understand what you're saying,
Yeah, you understand?
but he can't.
He can't speak.
You
Okay.
know,
Okay.
So next time, if you have trouble, you speak to him.
Ah,
He can
and
help.
you understand. Okay.
Understand speak. Just
你好，深蓝，闭嘴，
在。
闭嘴。Shut up.
好的。
Okay. Perfect. So I think it's going to take 32 minutes to go on this trip back to, we've got to go there, back to Chongqing. So I'm in Chongqing, which is like in the, what's it, like the southwest of the country. Biggest city in the world by like size and population. Within the city limits, like 36 million people, something like that. Crazy size. And I've never been here before. I've been to Shanghai a few times, and first time driving in a city close to this size. So this is going to be very interesting. So there are speed cameras. There's a head-up display in front of me, which for me is a little bit distracting. I would prefer to turn that off. But we're in a quite rural area here, so it should be quite easy for me to get to where we're going. But for me, once we get into Chongqing, that's going to be very, very interesting. So everything is in Chinese here, so I don't understand much except for the, normal numerals here. 40% charge. Speed limit here is 80. That's the cruise control, and that's our speed. No display in front of the driver. So this car is a Tesla Model Y competitor. It's about the same size. It's like 4.75 meters long, wheelbase 2,900 millimeters. Rear seats are quite big, as I've showed you earlier in this video, and also the trunk not the biggest, but like size-wise, I think this is a good size. So can we do a right here on red? Can we go right on red? Or we have to wait? Yeah, we can go right on red, okay. So the reason I was asking you is the truck in front, he went on red. So it looks like we're gonna go out on a bigger road here now. Let's see if we can pass this truck over here. And yeah, guys, welcome to Chongqing in China. This is the biggest, oh, we have to go all the way to the right. The biggest city that you've never heard of before. It's getting quite popular, recently with a lot of people traveling here. I've seen this in travel vlogs, known as the cyberpunk city, and it has a crazy train station or a subway station that goes into a building, which I went to see yesterday. So I'm going to overlay some footage there. And guys, if you follow me on Instagram, you've been following my travels. So if you guys want a little bit behind the scenes, follow me on Instagram. It is Chris Rifa on Instagram, and I'll drop the link down below. Would be cool getting that my Instagram to 10,000 subscribers or followers, and then we would I could do more content there, more short stuff and like that if you guys are interested. Now that we're on a motorway, let's try adaptive cruise. And also this car has autonomous driving that works on a select few roads. Not sure which roads works on, but now at least we have adaptive cruise working. This should turn blue if we were in the autopilot, or they don't actually have a branding for it in Europe yet, but you know, fully autonomous driving. And I've tested this or seen this, you know, done other places in China. So I think China and the US are the only places this is actually allowed, going into a tunnel here. I mean, the ADAS tracks quite center, and you know, road markings are pretty nice here. But let's cancel this and move over to the left here. And if we pull down once, I think that's adaptive cruise. There we go. And then we can increase the speed. There we go. Unfortunately, after this point in time, my microphone stopped working, and it was really weird because I actually filmed an interior and exterior portion the same day, but then we had, you know, issues with my microphone fogging up inside the lens, but it actually died at the very end of that shoot. And then the day after, we actually went to the Chongqing Auto Show, and my mic didn't want to power on at all. The battery had been charging overnight, my microphones, and it just, you know, didn't want to power on. We tried charging it there, and that's why we had to, you know, spend time getting new microphones and shooting the exterior and interior portion of the video again, where the video was bad, and we actually didn't have time to go out and drive again. It was just a mess, you know, technical problems with first my lens and then my microphone. But what I can say about the driving experience is, you know, I got to drive this car over 2 days. I got to first film this section, sit on my impressions, and then drive the car again later. And I think I talked about this a little bit, you know, at the end of the video. But, you know, suspension tuning actually pretty good for this type of vehicle. My biggest gripe with the Chinese cars, you know, aside from, you know, their suspension tuning, which hasn't been the best, is the steering feel. And this, you know, still very video gamey, but unlike, you know, the Xpeng G6 and the BYDs I've been driving lately, which have been, you know, heavy on center and heavy off center, where, you know, it's just really hard to drive them precisely at anything above motorway speeds or motorway speeds and upwards. This was, you know, more like a European tuned car, or maybe like a Korean tuned car. No, not because, you know, the Kia EV9 and EV6 are also quite terrible in my opinion. The steering in this on center pretty light, which is what you want, and then off center it starts to weight up, which is what you want. But the weighting still quite artificial, but you know what is nice is that it is light on center, meaning the steering is not going to be, the car's not going to be hard to drive at 100 or 120 kilometers an hour. Also relatively quiet, but again, driving on unfamiliar roads. But hopefully I'm going to, you know, get to test drive this next month, like in July or August, at the Norwegian press launch, so I can give you guys, you know, my real driving impressions on the roads I'm familiar with. But so far, for being this type of vehicle, I think it actually drives pretty good. It's not sporty, but it's comfortable, and that's what you want at this price point. Now, I may have been a little bit critical about this car when it comes to the way the suspension tuning when I initially drove it, but I actually think, like, sitting on this car for a day now, driving it again, for being this price point, I think this is actually a very, very usable car. Is it sporty? No. Is it comfortable? Yes. Is it luxurious? Well, kind of, but you're getting a lot of space, you're getting a lot of battery, you're getting a lot of range, you're getting a lot of features for a starting price below 400,000. 35,000 euros in Norway, and I'm going to put, you know, or probably put up the pricing for you in other EU countries. So I think what you're getting here at this price point in a segment that is very competitive, I think this is something to look out for once it hits the shores of Norway and the rest of Europe. At least go out and test drive one of these. And I'm actually excited to test this on my normal roads in Norway, do my proper range testing, do my long trip test to see how this performs, and also do my instrumented testing of road noise to see if this is as good at home as I felt it has been here. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below, and for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later, and goodbye.